Hey, it's Ashley, and I am live on Western Fashion Behind the Scenes. And today we have a very special guest, Linsay Rosser Sumpter. She is the commissioner of the Women's Rodeo World Championship. She is a mother. She lives in Colorado, and she has been my friend for over 10 years. Welcome, Lindsay.
I think it's 20,
Shoot, we're barely looking 25.
right? And yeah, no. Hi, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it so much.
I'm so excited that you're here. I want to dive right in because this is juicy. I was at the NFR this year. I just want to acknowledge this. And I've been to the NFR for 20 years, the National Finals Rodeo, which is, if you don't know what that is, you're just waking up to Western. Welcome. I'm Ashley, the boot babe. I know everything there is to know about cowboy boots and Western wear and Western traditions. I was at the National Finals Rodeo this year and I saw this crazy thing called Ad Breakaway, where hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people are now pushing on the men's association that's created basically, and they want them to add that sport. So I was like, oh my gosh, I thought of you every single day we tried to connect. Tell me a little bit about your organization before we get into the ad breakaway.
So, the Women's Rodeo World Championship is the largest all female rodeo in the world. We add $750,000 to must be born female athletes in the world. So, it's the largest female rodeo in the world. We have $183,000 added in each discipline. So, the barrel racing, the breakaway roping, the team roping. And in the team roping, it's equal money, 183,000 for the headers and the heelers. We are the only rodeo organization that is classifying ladies by their, I wouldn't necessarily say by their athletic ability, but what it is, it allows ladies to have their own kind of lane. So we have our challengers and our pros. Now, just because you're a challenger doesn't necessarily mean that you do not have the athletic ability to win in most circumstances. It might be like myself, who has a lot of different irons in the fire, a lot of different jobs, and doesn't have the opportunity to rodeo professionally and go down the road 9 months out of the year and be away from my family and be away from my job. And I just don't have the opportunity to go get that many outs. So, what we did is we have the pros, which in the barrel racing, it's ladies who have won over $100,000 in their lifetime earnings and they win less than 30 or $20,000 annually. You can still go to a lot of rodeos and win 15, 17,000 every year and probably do a lot in the summer. But then you're not necessarily like the girls like Haley Kimsel and Fallon Taylor who are going down the road and trying to make a living running barrels. And then in the breakaway roping, it is a lady that has won less than $30,000 in her lifetime earnings and less than $10,000 annually. And in the team roping, it's a four and a half. So the number system and lower the challenger. So what it is, you compete wherever you're going, you go online on the app, you nominate the events that you're already going to. And so you can accumulate points at those events that you're already going to towards our leaderboard. We give $5,000 bonuses to our world champion in the challenger and the pro. And at the end of our event, which the end of the event this year will be at AT&T Stadium in conjunction with the PBR World Finals, they win $60,000 to win the barrel race or the team roping, heading and heeling, and the breakaway roping. So, like I said, a lot of money to be awarded to ladies. This will be our fifth year. In the last 4 years, we've awarded over $3 million to female athletes.
You gave me full body cold chills, making me cry actually, because think of how far it has come. Like when I tell you that I cannot even imagine, I didn't want to become a rodeo cowgirl because I didn't think there was any money in it. And my family is a ranching family, right? And so to give little girls a new way to aspire to dream, holy crap, girl, you're killing it.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. This is
It's
amazing.
crazy. It's crazy, and it came to fruition very organically. I'm also a college rodeo coach. I've been a college rodeo coach for 15 seasons.
Okay,
Let's
let's just
say.
dive in a little bit right there. So give
Okay.
me a little bit of your family history so that people can get
Oh,
you that
yeah,
don't know
that
you.
that
Because
part.
you are a rodeo legacy already. It's just natural this would fit in. It does seem like very easy, but like this has been your whole life, girl. So tell me a little
Right,
bit
my
about
whole
your
life, yeah.
first part.
Born and raised in Northern California. My family is the Flying U Rodeo Company, and my grandfather was Cotton Rosser. He was a professional rodeo cowboy association stock contractor for over almost 80 years, 75 years for sure. He just passed away a couple years ago at 93. And I mean, he was going to rodeos up until almost the week that he passed away. So he was very much rodeo. Grew up in the rodeo business. I've done just about anything you can do on a horse, trick ride, Roman ride, jump fire. And then when I was in high school, I was a high school rodeo athlete and had some success with that. and went to college on a rodeo scholarship at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, graduated from there. I worked for the professional bull riders and I did PR and marketing with the professional bull riders. My husband was a 6-time NFR steer wrestler. I'm a mama too. When I left the PBR, I started a rodeo program at a small rural community college here in Southeast Colorado in La Junta Otero College, and I've been their coach since 2009. And then as a competitor, I was still competing. And thankfully in Colorado, the amateur rodeos had a lot of breakaway because our generation, once you got done with college, you were either a barrel racer or you didn't really have a rodeo career when it came down to it. And so when I moved to Colorado, the amateur rodeos had breakaway out here. And so I would still compete. I actually competed at the first two women's rodeo world championships as a competitor in the breakaway roping. And then the third one, we went to Fort Worth the first year, and then we went to Las Vegas the second year because the Women's Rodeo World Championship is owned by the PBR and the WCRA. They're our parent companies. So our event will follow wherever the PBR World Finals is. And so when it transitioned from Vegas to Fort Worth, we went with them. And then the third year, I've been commissioner for two, and this will be our third, and the third that I'll be the commissioner in May.
How old is the association then? 5 years?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. This is
this will be our fifth year. Yeah.
only your fifth year. I didn't think I'd ever see this happen in my lifetime. Well, for someone that I know, love, and want to see succeed. You talk a little bit about Cotton and you can move over that pretty quickly. Tell us a little bit about Cotton's legacy and what he did for the
Yes.
sport specifically.
They called Grandpa the P.T. Barnum of rodeo. He was one of the instrumental influencers for bringing the NFR to Las Vegas. We produced the opening ceremonies in Las Vegas from when it started until about 95 or so ish before they started doing the concerts and the big electric light shows and all that. We would do different opening ceremonies. I carried the American flag at the NFR when I was 6 years old. When we did the kids opening and Michael Martin Murphy sang Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys. And we had this big deal and we would do a spaceship opening and we would do an Indian opening and have a teepee that opens up. We had the big cowboy boot and a girl comes out the top carrying the American flag. And he was just showman and he really was innovative on bringing new things. If you watch Fort Worth this year, they had the bull jumper. He was the one who brought Manu over from France to be the first guy to jump a bull like that. Bobby Kerr started with Grandpa. Tomas Garcilaso started with Grandpa. He was just very innovative when it came to trying to change the sport to be more entertainment. He understood that the people that were paying for a ticket needed to be entertained as well as the rodeo cowboys needed to be able to win money. So he's in the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame, the National Cowboy Hall of Fame and Museum, the bull riding. He's in every Hall of Fame that there is, but he was very instrumental in that entertainment side of the sport.
Yeah, it sounds like you're following in his footsteps in a good way. I mean, it's speaking of entertainment, right? I'm sure that
Yeah.
got your first pair of cowboy boots. I
Oh,
mean,
for sure. Yeah.
and that's part of
I have no idea when I got my first pair of cowboy boots, honestly. I have absolutely no idea.
I would say for you
But
before you were born.
the Western store is still there in Marysville, California, Cotton's Cowboy Corral, and they sell a lot of cowboy boots there too. It was like, "Where'd you get your first pair?" I'm like, "Guaranteed it was Cotton's Cowboy Corral in Marysville, California."
This is so fun to talk about. Currently, what's going on in your life and where are you headed next?
So, another thing that I added onto the list was I'm the assistant coach for Bobby Moat, his team at the Kid Rockin' Rodeo. That is May 18th in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm the assistant coach for that. So at the end of the month, I have to go to Fort Worth for the draft. And then in March, I have to go to Nashville. And we start college rodeos in March. So I go to Nashville the 11th, 12th, and 13th. And then I go to our college rodeo the 14th in Gillette, Wyoming. So I'll go from one end to another when it comes to that. So we'll start college rodeos in March and try to get some kids to the college national finals. And then our event for women's rodeo starts May 13th. It goes the 13th through the 18th, and the 17th of May is the Kid Rockin' Rodeo. And then our finals will be at the PBR finals on the 18th of May. So pretty much once of March hits, I'm on the trail.
This is like the December of the other kind of cowboy. Like, not the other
Yeah.
kind. Oh, let's address this. So,
Okay.
there's a lot of controversy around all this.
There is.
Controversy between the PRCA and the commissioners and the things and all the choices that they've made over the years. And now, fast forward to where we're at, which is there are some different players in the game. There are some new faces. There are some people that are in their 30s making big moves. 30s and 40s, right? And so let's address how people can wade through it and get along and choose what they want to do.
So this is just my own personal kind of stance on everything. If we don't all work together, the industry could potentially fall in the sense that there's a lot of people that don't like rodeo. They have a misconception on the treatment of the animals that we have. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy in LA, and they're trying to ban any sort of animal. If you use an animal for entertainment at all, so that would include going on a trail ride, that includes so many different entities with animals, but, I think that we all need to work together. So my organization, Women's Rodeo World Championship, like I said, is owned by the Professional Bull Riders and the World Champion Rodeo Alliance, which is it's another rodeo organization which has different ideas between you nominate the events that you're already going to, and you accumulate points to try to get to these major events that add anywhere from 400,000 to $650,000.
It made it more of a game. It made it more of a game. And Fly Your Life is what the world's at right now. It's 2024. Wake up. Okay.
And the major parties, the PRCA, which is the Professional Rodeo Cowboy Association, the Women's Professional Rodeo, the WPRA, they're the like they're the staple, right? They're the guys that have been around forever. Not that it's bad, but there hasn't been a lot of innovation within the organization. It's a membership organization, which makes it challenging because it's not necessarily for profit, and it's ran by a lot from the members. But within that, you have to look at different entities and see. The major controversy now is that the breakaway roping has been put on the back burner for 50 years. And I hear it all the time, probably because I'm a competitor. I have a WPRA card. I go to PRCA rodeos. I made the circuit finals in the breakaway roping for the Mountain States. I still compete at a high level. And they're like, you need to get these girls figured out. I'm like, I'm out. Tell me what the problem is. Tell me what the problem is.
Listen, Taylor
Why
Swift.
does
Hi, you're the problem. It's you. You're the
what?
50 years, 50 years. Wake
Why
up.
does
We ended
yeah.
slavery in this country. We've ended women's rights in this country. One of my friends is one of the first ever anesthesiologists in the country. She's like in her 90s. Hello, we are behind. Wake up. Okay, my brain.
Right. So what's the problem? Why does it bother you so much that the breakaway ropers there? They just don't know how to do this and they don't know how to do that. I'm like, okay, but you understand that they legitimately, not until in 2018, I made the short round at Cheyenne in the breakaway. That was the first year that Cheyenne had breakaway roping. It wasn't sanctioned. It was an open event. We paid entry fees and they included us in the rodeo, and it was awesome. It was so cool.
They added it because
And
they're respectful.
yeah, and
It takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's not an event that takes
Tom Hersing, his daughters both college rodeoed in our region, and he had his
Tom
daughters.
Hersing.
So
Who is Tom Hersing?
he would be the CEO of Cheyenne Frontier Days. They had it in 2018, and then the WCRA though. So my parent body is the first organization to add breakaway roping at all of their major events at equal money. So if you were to go watch the Windy City Roundup, which was in Chicago, Jackie Crawford got a check for 50,000 in dollars in the breakaway roping, and that was all because the WCRA was like, "Time out, we're going to add it." IPRA has had it for a long time, and so now, fast forward 4 years, breakaway roping is starting to come around. The breakaway roping is sanctioned through the WPRA. We pay a membership fee. The WPRA gives money to the PRCA to establish breakaway, and this all happened with the old commissioner of the PRCA, George Taylor. So the WPRA pays some money to the PRCA to help establish breakaway roping. Mind you, it's been in college rodeos since the 60s
Let's talk about why we break away rope or why you'd want to learn how to break away rope. For people that don't know anything about rodeo, why is this necessary?
Currently, right now, there's 3 rough stock events: the bareback riding, the bronc riding, and the bull riding. And there's 3 timed events: the tie down roping, the steer wrestling, and the team roping. Those are all male events that are sanctioned through the PRCA. There's currently one major women's event, and that's the barrel racing. And the breakaway roping would be the second sanctioned women's event, when there's 6 for men and currently 1 for women.
That's really important part. And for people that are listening to this that don't know anything about cows, literally might have come from some kind of misinformation or disinformation where they didn't learn correctly. Like, why are they still doing this? People are asking, they come up to me at Magic. I'm in Magic in Vegas. They're like, why are they still doing this to animals? And I'm like, actually, it's because that's how you doctor a cow. So
That's
can
how
you
you keep them
explain?
healthy.
Oh,
My favorite part about the breakaway roping is that you have pretty girls on fast horses and the calf always wins. So you rope the calf around the neck and your rope just breaks away from the saddle. It's tied on with a piece of butcher string. So you can pull it like this and still break it. And so the tension is that minimal that the rope just breaks away from your saddle horn. But historically, when a calf is sick, you need to rope it in the pasture and you dally it and you get off and you get them on to the ground, you give them a shot, and then you save their life. And so that's all of rodeo stems from this historic. And originally, when the rough stock, it was like who had the best cowboys on the ranch because everybody had hired hands, and whose hired hand could ride the colts the best that bucked, and then they would just jack around and get on bulls. But all the other events and the timed event would stem from how to doctor a calf in the pasture.
see, this is an important part that most people don't understand. Like, if you're sick and you need help, they're helping. They're learning how to
Yeah.
help these cows. And if you eat beef, if you've eaten at McDonald's in your life, listen, that cow needed some doctoring at some point. This is where
Yeah.
people are very disconnected. And we talk a lot about how do you figure out how to get reconnected to this. So let's fast forward.
Okay.
Breakaway roping. They don't add breakaway.
Breakaway currently right now within the WPRA it's a standalone event at the South Point, just on a perspective on why the fight necessarily shouldn't be that it should be added. The fight should be more across an equality standpoint. Though the girl who won the most money in the breakaway roping at the Breakaway NFR this year won $29,000 in 10 rounds. Okay. The go rounds paid $5,000. In the big NFR, the major NFR that has one female sanctioned event, they to win first in one night is $32,000 in one event. So the bigger issue, in my opinion, this is just again my opinion, is let's have some equality across the board. If you invite me to dinner and you are serving T-bones and you give me a peanut butter and jelly, that's pretty much what's happening to the girls in the breakaway roping within the WPRA and the PRCA right now, in my personal opinion. I have a hard stance. I appreciate all of the rodeo committees that add equal money, and I appreciate all of these people that are including breakaway within, but the quality issue is the bigger issues. If you're gonna invite somebody to dinner, you're gonna give them the same thing that you're gonna give to everybody else. And right now, the breakaway roping is at a very lower added money. That's where the bigger hiccup is, in my opinion.
You know what's
Because
fun? Yeah, go ahead.
in all reality, Vegas is all about time. The longer a person sits in a seat, the less amount of time they're sitting at a machine putting their pennies in slots, right? So I understand that it's a time issue and there's some constraints that come to that. Now, I think that there's a way that they could add it in there. And like you said, 15 girls, we could be done in less than probably 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops, but less than probably right around 15 minutes or
It's
less.
slower than the barrel racing. It's faster than the barrel racing. It's faster
Yeah.
than almost all of them.
Yeah, for sure. And my biggest thing is I'll rope in the parking lot. I don't care where we rope. Just give us equal money. That's me.
Okay. And
It's
that's
all
fair.
because those girls are running, they're going, bless their hearts, they're going down the road spending just as much money as any team roper, as any barrel racer, as any rough stock guy trying to make the NFR. And then they go there and they can win a quarter, less than a quarter of the money.
Oh, come on. There's like Title IX, excuse me. If you did this in tennis, you'd be fined, kicked out, never allowed in, shunned by the public. It's only because of, so it's our American culture. And this is touchy, but we have an American culture that's amazing. We have music that's come from all over the world. We have whatever. We're learning though that our American culture might be a little young and a little kind of
Yeah.
silly in some of our choices. So how do you think it will change? Do you think that they'll add breakaway?
I think that eventually it will happen. Like I said, my biggest concern is I don't care where they have it. I think it's cool if they want to have it as their own event, but they need to figure out a way to have the equal money. I think at some point it will. I know that they just renewed the contract 2 years early. So it's a 10-year contract, which it seems interesting to me that you would sign a 10-year deal in 2024 because it just seems like a really long time and times can change and everything can be so much different, like what COVID did to everybody. So now it's a 12-year contract, and I don't think that there's anything included with the breakaway within that 12-year contract with Las Vegas events and the NFR. I think that enough there's enough people that see the inequality that I think that eventually in less than 10 years they're going to have to do something.
How do people put the right kind of pressure on these other people?
I think they need, I think we always, my big thing is always come with grace, right? You can tell somebody to go themselves if you smile and you're just like, okay, listen, here's the deal, right? You have to come with grace and you have to come with education, you have to come with knowledge and you have to come with respect. So I think that the biggest thing is, okay, here's the deal. If it's a problem with finding the equal added money, let's have conversations with CoverGirl. Let's have conversations with companies because all of the companies within the Western industry, I feel like can be blood dry on so many different levels, right? You look at the OGs, right? The Justin Boots, the Wranglers, they're everywhere. Everybody wants them on their arena signs and everybody wants to bleed them dry. And the pie's only this big. At not when you just go to splitting it up, it's hard to come up with another $3 million in prize money. In a sense, I think that we need to be innovative, and I think that we need to look at female consumers. When you look at ladies, they are the. This is another sidebar story. So on women's, we work with PBR and it's like you don't have a sellable product. I said, well, how do I not have a sellable product? And I said, who spends all the money in your house? And this is with an executive, right? That's not super familiar with rodeo, but is in the industry. How do I not have a sellable product? And he said, you don't have anybody in the seats. You only have here competing, you have 250 athletes, but within the database, you only have 11,000 in your database. Like, you don't have a sellable product. And I'm like, okay, who spends all the money in your house? What do you mean? I said, who goes to the store? My wife. I said, who buys your kids' clothes? My wife. All of that kind of stuff. So I'm like, how do I not have a sellable product? Ladies want to celebrate ladies. Granted, there's a lot of jealousy that can be had, but I'm the biggest cheerleader of anybody. Like I cheer. I still want the WPR to succeed, even though obviously it's not even in competition. We're two different entities with two different goals in mind, but I want the WPRA to fight tooth and nail to get the breakaway in there. And because I'm part of them, I'm one of them. I have a card. So it's just so interesting to me, the mindset, but Western industry is very male dominated. That's for
It,
sure.
it's true. So, because it's so male dominated, we focus a lot on fashion. And I met you and we had fallen in love with fashion over the years. You are definitely someone to watch. And so, how do people find you on social media?
So my Instagram is Lindsay Lee, but I spell my name funky. So Linsaylee. On Facebook, I have Linsay Rosser Sumpter. And then Women's Rodeo World Championship is wrwc.rodeo. So we're not .com, we're .rodeo. And so you can look up anything Women's Rodeo World Championship in that way. But we do like fashion. I feel like we were ahead of this whole Western fashion influencer trends when we met so long ago and would put our crazy outfits together. And I would say I'm more conservative now, but now I'm more into finding vintage pieces that nobody else is ever going to have and putting things together in that way. But yeah.
Yeah, we're in a bespoke environment. If you can be different, you got to be different. Thanks for being on today, Lindsay.
You bet. Thank you so much. And I love what you're doing. I love watching you travel the world in your boots and your hats and keeping Western fashion just awesome. I love it.
It's really a Trojan horse for traditions, right? My family has a packing outfit and we pack into the mountains and it's a lost art and rodeo could be a lost art. So if you're listening to this and you want to get into the sport of rodeo, go for it. Call me, call her. We'll help you figure out where to go, who to get with. It's important to follow your heart and do whatever you desire. And to the women that are listening, Lindsay, what do you want to tell them if they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know this existed? Because how many women still don't know?
There's so many women that don't know. As Women's Rodeo World Championship, we have established Women's Week of Rodeo, May 13th through the 19th in Fort Worth, Texas. And it is an inclusive environment to all levels of athletes. If you don't compete, we want you there. We want to celebrate women. We're going to have fashion shows. We're going to have a TED Talk type stuff. The mayor, Maggie Parker, she proclamated that week of Women's Rodeo World Championship last year. And celebrate women in the Western culture. And that is our biggest thing. So come join us in Fort Worth, Texas, the Cowgirl gathering starts the 9th. So May 9th through the 19th and come have fun and do some cowgirl stuff.
Hey, okay, yes, go to Fort Worth, Texas, May 9th to the 19th. Thanks for being on.